Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Xa Talk Show. So today we are going to code Emacs Lisp. This is gonna be maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes, so short. Okay, my keyboard's Glove 80, Ultimate Hacking Keyboard, fantastic. Check YouTube, I have reviews on it. Okay, let's begin. So we're gonna do it this quickly. If you are watching offline, skip around and play at speed 2 or something. And if you are here, say hi. Okay, we just gonna code Emacs Lisp quickly today. So the job is to I need to modify my command. So here's the thing. Okay, so something you want to turn list line into a HTML list. Okay, so for example, dog, cat, elephant. Hello, Buell. So we got dog, cat, elephant, and I press this key, they become a list showing browser. So you can see. So back to Emacs undo. Okay, do it. So that command is HTML lines to list. So describe key. Then I press the key. So here's the documentation. HTML lines to list. It's in HTML mod. If you like it, pay me, kind of donate, and I send it to you. It's all open source. Okay, so you can see HTML. Search for HTML mod. You'll find it. Or packages. This is all my packages. They used to be free for like 10 years, but nobody cares. Nobody pays, and you become tech support. So I stopped doing, giving up free. So, the HTML mod is actually my most lines of code, because I work with HTML. So all these are functions, you got 94 functions, insert tag, remove tag, image tag, embed image, embed YouTube, and so on, embed PDF, and, So anyway, so let's focus. So we're gonna modify this command. Let me tell you why I need to modify it. So let's see. So let me show you another command. I want to remove all the list. So do this, press 3 keys, and they become that. They back to lines. So, sometimes you have lines, but sometimes you have something. Okay, so this is a paragraph. So when you're working with HTML, sometimes you have that. Okay, now you want to make these lines, but you don't want to include this P paragraph, obviously. So, but if I call the list 2 lines, they include that, paragraph, because this list 2 lines, HTML lines to list, they capture the delimiter by empty lines. So you need to have empty lines, or you have to select it. No, if you select it, it does something else. But if you have, like, for example, this is a long paragraph, something like that. You want to make this one list item. So that's when you do a selection. So you select them, then you call the command, then show in browser, you see. So anyway, so the problem I have now is I want to modify the command so that if a line start with a the markup HTML tag, it should consider that as a delimiter. So actually now we have a design issue. So yeah, so first of all, your code should grab all the empty lines, then you see, the problem is sometimes, let's make it this way so it's easier to see. So sometimes you have something above it and something below it. So what you're gonna do in those cases? I don't know. So this is about designing user interface design. So you think about what exactly you want to do, how exactly what you to do, the command you should be doing exactly. You have to think about that, then you code. So for example, in HTML we have, like usually you have blank lines. So why do I want to do this? Because I want to save keystrokes. It gets annoying every time you have to go to the bottom, because this situation happens. So anyway, let's just push on, okay? Let's just move to whatever we need to do and go, think about it as we go. So let's look at the source code of this, okay? So describe key, press the key for that command. Here is the documentation. Jump to the source code, look at it. So here is the source code. Now let's try the sans serif font, not monospace. 8 concurrent viewers, fantastic. Hello guys, Alexander, and Blue Owl. So here's the source code, and in fact the source code is on the website. So open it, show in browser, so you can grab it, and it'll work. So now we want to modify these. Let's think about how we want to do. Okay, open a new buffer, paste it, and copy the function name, save it, xx today's date, then function name .el. Okay, so we got a temp file to work with, just this function. So the first thing, so let me go over how this command works. So basically you just first of all find out, find the let's go back to find the beginning of the empty line. You search backward by 2\n. Okay, then you search forward by 2\n. Then you got this text block. Then you just grab that text block. Then you split that text by a empty line, end of line character. So you got a list of items, Emacs Lisp of items. Then it's easy. Then you just, okay, so let me show. Okay, so that then you just insert UI UL at the top, and also insert the /UL at the bottom. Then for each list item, you just insert li, the item, then /li. So that's how you do it. So let's try again. Do it. You see, fantastic. Undo. Line to list, undo. Okay, so that's the basic how this command works. And you can, okay, shall we? So for example, let me show you. So this function takes a beginning and end position. And okay, sorry about that. Scratch my eyes. Beginning and end position, and takes item separator regular expression. Normally it's just one single end of line character, but sometimes you want two, or multiple end of blank line in case. So anyway, a bit, tedious detail. So that's then you want it ordered. So when you have it ordered true, this optional argument, that means do a ordered list instead of an ordered list. An ordered list is UL, ordered is unordered is UL, ordered list is OL. Okay, so for example, I press a universal command, which is Control U, then I call the command. Now you see you got an ordered list OL. So show in browser, you got ordered list like that. So that's so the function first, when you are calling interactively, like metax something, that's when you need this interactive block. This will basically fill out the parameters to the function. So how do we fill it? So we basically, if region is active, then just get the region beginning and region end. That's a selection. Then the item separator is gonna be 2 end of line characters. So that allows you to, if you have, one of the list item is actually a paragraph, multiple lines. And then the ordered, whether you want ordered list or unordered list, that depends on whether you pressed Control U in the beginning. So if you do Control U, like describe key, Control U, that's actually calling the universal argument. And if the user called, press Control U first, then this current prefix arg, which is a built-in variable, that will be true. So that's how you know, whether you want to do ordered list or not. So that's the interactive block, which just fills these parameters for you. So once you have the parameters, then you do, so then you like just I described. Okay, so local variables. So if begin and end is nil, this gets a bit tedious to explain. And also because here I'm calling my own function, but this function is actually easy to understand. This function just return the beginning and end position of empty lines. So this function. So you see, just search backward by one empty line character, then maybe a space or tab character, multiple of them, then another line empty line character. So basically just two empty lines. So that would be the beginning delimiter for a text block like that. Okay. Then you search forward and do the same thing. Just search for those regular expression. Then you just return the beginning position, those two positions, and end position. That's what this get command block. So you can also see the source code. You can grab it if you code Emacs Lisp, is right here. So let's close that. So so I'm setting up the beginning and end position here. Then grab the text, begin end position substring no properties that returns the string between those two positions. Then you set up your regular expression for the separator of each list item. So if the regular expression is given, that's a beginning, that's a parameter here. So if it's given, then just use that. Otherwise, use a end of line character. So once you got the, so far you got all the parameters filled, all the required parameters to, that's essence, what you need to turn lines to a list. Then you start to code, actually turning. So you can see has empty lines if it does have empty lines items. So you see the split string, we split the text block into a list of items, split string. Then you turn each list item into you add li and /li to each item. Okay, so that's a list. Then you join them. Okay, the code is a bit complicated because I'm determining has empty line. Why do I need to determine has empty line? Because that's because when you want to turn something, cat something, okay, cat something and dog something, then you select all. You want this to be list item, but each list item is actually multiple lines. So that's when you do this. Okay, so you see that's one item. So showing browser, cat something, dog something. So that is why I'm doing this has empty lines. Okay, so has empty lines. But wouldn't that be has to do with the regular expression? I forgot. This code turn lines to list is pretty old. So here it says 2022, but actually it's like 10 years old, more than 10. 2020. It actually 2013. Okay, something created in 2013. So, because over the past decade, I've improved the code in one way or another, changed the user interface. I've also sometimes changed the function names. So, yeah. So, okay. So where are we going? Okay. So actually, then you just start to narrow to region. Then so many code. Okay, so then you start to insert. Now if the user requested order list, you insert UOL and /OL, otherwise it's UL. And then okay, then it does something else. Okay, then it goes through each line, the insert line, and remove the dash in front, or remove period, or remove the Unicode bullet. So what does that do? That does is, like, if you have cat. So for example, in the markdown. So when you have want a list, you use the dash. Okay, cat space dash space dog. Okay, so when you call the command, it turns to cat and dog without the dash because you don't need it now. So you have to remove the dash. And one thing annoying about markdown is that you can also use the multiplication character, which is also allowed. So you also have to remove the multiplication character. And the other thing is that for me, sometimes I use the Unicode bullet. Okay, BU becomes a bullet, cat. Okay, BU dog. That's done by abbrev. So like everything I talked about, it's all in my Emacs Lisp tutorial. So you guys should check it out, make use of it. Emacs Lisp basics, Emacs Lisp, all these search forward. How do you get the block of text? How do you turn a text given to beginning and end region position, turn it into a string? You can all find it tutorial about them. So back to the code. So what we want to do now, actually, so we are like, okay, let's try this one. Okay, that's a Unicode bullet. So you can describe char, so you can see name bullet. Okay, that's a Unicode bullet, which I sometimes use. You can turn it into a list. Okay, so that's why in the code, you have this block of code. So this is done when you insert the list. Then you want to remove, beginning, those beginning characters. There are so many ways to do it because you can remove them before you insert. So, do it at the end may not be the most efficient, but but anyway. So what we want to do now? So now we looked at the code. Do we want to still to prevent? So if you have like cat, dog, then you don't want to include this as part of the list. So do I want to have that feature? Yes, because it's useful. Because if I turn this into a list, that's not what we want. And sometimes it's worse. For example, let me show you. Sometimes it's worse. Okay, so sometimes it's, for example, let's change this paragraph to a div. So I press a key. Okay, so I press a key, change it to div, do it. So you can see now it's div. Now, when you have a div, sometimes usually it's long. So this is long something, it could be, a pages long. It can be a, interactive JavaScript or whatever. So when you have this situation, for example, now you turn it into a list, you get that. And that is invalid HTML. So show in browser, that is invalid HTML. So, so you do want this feature, you want this feature. So, okay, so we decided we do want this feature of turning a line into a list, but when one of the line is starting with a opening angle bracket, you want to consider that as the end or the beginning. Okay, so opening bracket is the end. If you have an opening bracket, then that's the beginning. So let's try to do this again. So insert the div, okay, let's see. Okay, so when you have this situation, then you call the command, it should also do these two. Okay, so you want to consider okay, I have to think about so what you see. So we are still in the designing stage about the user interface, exactly what you want to do, because then you have several situations. What if you have something in the middle and your cursor is here? Okay, so but what if your cursor is here? That's another case, edge case. I think we can ignore that case. You see, to fully do this is gonna be quite involved. But we would just consider the more common situation. The cursor would be here. Okay, so you want to search for. Okay, there's another issue. For example, if you have a URL link, for example, you have a URL link, then we do want to consider this line as an item. So, okay, so it gets complicated. What if the line is just the URL itself? In that case, we also want to consider it as an item. Yeah, okay, so there's quite a lot of situations, you see. So actually, so right now I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't do it. Because if you add a feature where, where it's going to skip these div tags, but then you do want, when you have a link like that, you do want that to be part of the list item. So you have the situation that some of the tag it will skip, some of the tag it will not. So to the user, it's starting to become complex, and you don't want that. I mean, even though sometimes it's convenient, but but then user have a hard time to figure out exactly when is the tag considered the end of the thing. Yeah, so that's an issue. So actually now I'm thinking that maybe we don't add this feature, or if we add the feature, then we're gonna start to check the tag names, because tag A would be allowed, okay, but tag div, you see, then it gets really complex, because you have something bold. Okay, let's say bold. The question is, do you obviously in this case you do want that bold to be part of the line, line item, but not div. Okay, so now the situation is you have to look at all HTML tags. Which tag should you skip? Which tag should you keep to be part of the line? Okay, so this is getting really complex. Just to think about the user interface design. So because there are, let's see, HTML tags, there are like 30 tags or so. Header, meta, those are, obviously you want to skip them because you don't encounter those in the body often. But then you have nav, header, footer. Usually you also skip those. Main, aside, article, section. What about H3? heading tags, you also skip them. You consider them as beginning or end of the list of lines, okay? Then what about text block? Here it gets complicated because you see, technically, by HTML spec, this div, p, pre, block quote, and hr, they are technically allowed. They are allowed as part of the li tag. They are allowed to be inside of it. But in practice, does people do them? Yeah, sometimes. Actually, people do sometimes, like sometimes you do want to have a div inside, like something. Wait, okay, so you need to select it, wrap a div tag around it. Okay, so this is, sometimes you do want that in some situations. Yeah, so, yep. And then you have list tag. It gets more complex. Nested list. Then span, em, strong, bold, italic. Obviously, you want to consider them as part of the line. Yeah. So overall, the whole thing gets very complex. What about table? Usually, table is not inside the list. Okay. Image. Yes, image is often inside a list tag. Okay, yeah. So I decided, now we looked over the issue, I decided I'm not going to add this convenient feature. Maybe, so I think this is interesting because you see, like typically when we think about coding, we just think about the problem is how to code, in Python, JavaScript, how to code it. But actually, from my experience, been coding in the past 30 years, I think half of the problem is actually, like about half of the problem is actually designing the user interface. Function, for example, if you are writing a function, exactly what kind of parameters you want, and also Boolean parameters, especially when you have Boolean parameters. The worst example in this design scenario is the Unix command line. The Unix idiots, the Unix and Linux, these type of people, and C. The Unix commands, for example, typically they have one bunch of confusing options like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G overrides D, but if you include D, it toggles C, like incomprehensive crap. That's the Unix bash and the shell tools. Okay, let me peddle my Unix website. I think today we are done. I mean, today we decided we're not gonna write the command. We went through. I hope it's useful to learn about this user interface design issue. Today is a good example. So anyway, in Unix, you got this bunch of crap commands. Let's see, where can I see a bunch of them? Let's see, let's check for bash. Bash keys, well, so yeah. So anyway, Unix is just a whole bag of baggage, 40 years of history. So you see, when you use Unix commands, you often see the very extremely badly designed function options. They say, according to the Unix philosophy, small is beautiful. In fact, it's not. The Unix is not beautiful at all because each command they stamp on each other. For example, the most common example is the Unix find and xargs. There's a lot interplay. And also if you do ls, not ls, copy, for example, sometimes you can include r in many commands. Okay, so let's go to shell. Shell mod, not eShell mod. Okay, so shell script mod. So copy shell script mod doesn't highlight. What the fuck? So you have copy, you have move, you have, move serves two purposes. One is move a thing to different directories. The other one is rename. That's another bad design. But why does the Unix people do that? Because it so happens, with the directory, they do the same thing. It just so happens on Unix it's that way. On the other hand, Microsoft, they did away with that. Okay, so in the past week, I've done a lot of update to my PowerShell tutorial. If you are on Windows, PowerShell is the thing you want to learn. If you are working in Windows as your profession, okay, so you don't want Bash, you don't want Z shell, you don't want Fish or any of the Zoomer shells. You want PowerShell on Windows. That is, if you work on Windows professionally, okay, you make your money by working on Windows, whatever technology on Windows, usually C++ for gaming. So if you work on Windows a lot, you want to learn PowerShell, okay? So PowerShell, for example, let's go to my PowerShell tutorial, show directory as a tree. Here we want to show the move, okay? Move the create a directory. So copy file, rename file, you have the full name of the command is rename item, okay? Then if you want to move, it's move item, MV shortcut. So in PowerShell, they actually separated this entirely distinct concept. Moving something is not the same as renaming something. But the Unix fuckheads, they fucked up. They give us bad concepts, which brainwashed several generations of programmers. Like to this day, you'll hear a lot, the elite hacker types. They say every day they tell you how Unix today, Linux, Unix is kind of good. How Linux is great, and they're the most incompetent fuck. That's a Unix, okay? Now remember, back to the issue. We are talking about the user, the function interface design or command interface design. So Unix tools and Bash, they are the worst example, okay? And one of the concrete example is the move and rename. And besides that, each, like some of the command allows, -r for recursive. But then you have find, which is designed to be, find and xarg is like one bunch of confusing bags. So if you really want to have like small is beautiful, each command does one thing according to the so-called Unix philosophy, then all the commands you don't want the -r, okay? When you want recursive, you should be using find and pipe and combine them. So each command truly does one thing. Then if you want to traverse the directory, walk the directory, then you use find or whatever. Then you use xargs to pass the command name you want to call. And that is the case. That way of design is the case in Python, in Golang, in Wolfram language, in just about every programming language. You have a walk directory function that get the list of files, maybe and including recursively. Then you can call other functions to do on each of the item file, okay? But on the Unix, you got the one fucked up fuck. Some of the command has R, some of them doesn't. In some of them, for example, ImageMagick, technically it's not part of Unix, but in practice it is. ImageMagick, okay? Let me just peddle some of my website. Recently, I've been working on ImageMagick 2, ImageMagick tutorial. ImageMagick is one huge bag of crap. Okay, it's pretty old. For example, let me show you. Okay, ImageMagick. This from Emacs Lisp coding becoming a rant. Okay, So let me show you. So I've been looking at alternatives. VIPS, lib VIPS, that's alternative. On the Mac, I discovered a great thing. The Apple people, proprietary, they created SIPS, SIPS. That's built in Mac OS. So it's lean and fast. It allows you convert images, resize, rotate, and or things like that. Lean and precise. Meanwhile, the image magic, let me show you image magic. Image magic becomes extremely bloated crap, okay? So let's see, where is my article I just wrote? So let's go to programming blog so we can find the link here because I recently just did it. So updates on Python, F-string, that's kind of new, although it's already 10 years old, Python F-string. How to judge quality of programming language documentation, PowerShell throw error, this I need to do yet. And Wolfram language, transform graphics, like this is mathematics, geometric transformation. And this is a bunch of Zoomer things. I was planning to look into them in detail. FD, like people will say, you should use FD. FD is modern find. EXA is modern LS. A load of crap. This load of crap. FZF and fish shell, and there's a bunch of new ones other than fish. And ripgrab, we actually looked into a year ago, live stream. I think I did 1 or 2 live stream on ripgrab, on the ultimate judgment of about whether you should use ripgrab instead of just grab. Grab is bundled in every Unix, but now you have ripgrab. By the way, there's a long history of replacing Unix commands. Grab, in the beginning, there's grab, egrab, fgrab, then they started to merge together, so today we just know grab. So there are different, regular expressions, so before you have egrab, fgrab, then they become grab, then grab have different, parameters that, if you want to be egrab compatible or if you want to be fgrab compatible, it's one confusing ball. So we judged on whether ripgrab speed is worth it. Not really, okay? If you are just doing, let's say, 20,000 files, most of the time you spend in grab is the disk loading or even flash drive. That takes the most of the time. So if you are grabbing, let's say, 20,000 files, let's say if it takes 10 minutes, let's say it takes 2 seconds, okay? 1.5 seconds is loading the file into memory. Okay, once you did it one time, then the second time is instantaneous. That's the nature. That's about the speed of grab. Okay, I would say more than half of the time is spending on loading the file into memory. Okay, so if you do, let's say 20,000 files, which is not too many, today, you don't need ripgrab. So when do you need ripgrab? That's like when you work at Google or something, like you have mega giga data, 1,000, 1,000, let's say 100,000 files, 100,000 files in a directory that you need to grab every hour. Then that's when you use ripgrab. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. And another thing extremely idiotic about this ripgrab guy, this Andrew Gallen, I think he's a great guy and great coder, great work. But he refused to add the replace feature to the ripgrab. Like he obsessively refused, adamantly refused, despite it's a frequently requested feature, because he think it gets very complex to do it right. So so he I discovered I spent several days to look into ripgrab last year. So he's like adamant, he doesn't want to add replace feature. In that case, then rip grep is not that useful. Okay, so again, so if you are if I'm younger like you guys, let's say 20 years old, yeah, sure, I would install all these modern tools because they are better. Usually FD is better than find, EZA or EXA is better than LS, FZF is better than grep, and so on, and fish shell, and it's got colors, it's faster, it skips .git directories, saves you time, so it's better, but in some little way. Okay, so if I was younger, I'm probably look into, but I'm older, yeah, I'm not gonna. I got enough to do. I got my grep version in Golang, in Python, in Perl. I talked about many times. You search it, you'll find the code. So for example, Golang. So I go to a bookmark. So this is my Golang for grep. Okay, I have my own in Golang, in Perl, in Python, in Emacs, and they all can do replacement. Okay, so for example, this one, you go to this page, it's on my website, Golang find string. Okay, so every time I want to find something, I just quickly open the bookmark, and the cursor will be at here, so I can find, let's say I want to type something. Wait. Yeah, where's okay, so something, let's say I want to find Haskell. Okay, I've been trying to this, so I run the code actually. Oh yeah, so I was trying to find the misspelling typo of reporter, REPORTOR, before. So delete that, I don't need that. So let's not search Haskell, let's search for punch card, because that's punch card, that's not how you should say it. I think it's called, I corrected. But if you search for punch card, so right now it's searching over about 50,000 files, among which is 10,000 HTML files. So you can see all the result. You press a key to highlight them in Emacs to jump them, so you can see all the occurrence of punch cards. Okay, but punch card is the wrong word. Okay, so let's just it's called punched cards. Okay, let's just open it. Okay, open one of them. Show in browser. Guy still says don't iterate, recurse, and get rid of Lisp cons. Lisp cons is one of the most idiotic thing. And Guy Steele is the creator of Common Lisp and Scheme Lisp, both. Okay, but Lisp, Common Lisp people are obsessed with cons. They think it's a great thing. And when you show them this article by Guy Steele, he's giving a talk, and also, for example, you go there, he's giving a talk. Don't use cons, okay? Ban cons. When you show this to the Common Lisp fanatics, the idiots, they think, but well, he's just saying, they just basically dismiss it. The Common Lispers will say, but it's still good. The extreme fanatical Common Lisp idiots, they become that way because fanaticism, because they want to promote Common Lisp. So when you become fanatic like Emacs users, okay, when you become fanatics, like so obsessed in like glorify this tool, Emacs or Lisp, you fail to see certain problems and flaws, and fail to actually do good work in the tool. Because, for example, Lisp cons, but you ignore this, you kind of dismiss it. Oh yeah, that's Guy Steele, yeah, like like you kind of dismiss it. So when you code Lisp, you back to using cons when it is not appropriate. That's a thing, And the Lisp fanatics, they deny this, so they want to keep saying cons is great, so that the one major consequence is that all the Lisp people, when new learners, that when they come to Lisp community, they think, oh, cons great, they keep using it. But actually, what should happen is that we should start to tell people con is bad. Con is just history. It's too bad we cannot change it because there's 30 years of baggage, the backward compatibility. We cannot remove cons, but we can understand cons is really just, old. We should avoid it as much as we can. Okay, we spread that, then possibly eventually, we have new system, in this, new library, things like that, new library or so on. So you should not be, so anyway, we digress into this concept, punch cards. Okay, so punch cards, actually it's not punch card, it's called, let me show you, punched cards. Okay, so the proper name, this thing, punched cards. This thing is called punch cards. That's used starting around 1940s, even 1940s. So you know what is a consequence remain to this day among the hacker idiots? That's the line truncation. Like, have you heard the coding style, the Python, the Perl, the JavaScript people tell you that lines should not be more than 80 characters. That came from punch cards practice. Okay, it's an extreme idiocy. Another one I've talked in my live stream for quite a few times. Okay, so we digressed a lot. I think that's it for today, and we go back. So I was showing you I was showing you this Golang script. That's my personal replacement for the rip grab. I have my own. I don't even need Golang. Okay, for example, sometimes I use Golang because it allows me to still work in Emacs while it's running, but usually I just call Emacs Lisp command. So find, let's try punch cards. This is written in pure Emacs Lisp. Okay, search in this directory. Do it. HTML files. Yes, there it is. So I can jump to it. I can list all the files that occur, punch cards, okay, including the guide steel article. Close it, or I can jump to any one of them, press enter to open, show in browser. So this one is, this article is, do programming language needs the concept of core stack? That's another idiocy from the C and C++ fuckheads, okay, like the C, like C++, they are talk. Oh, because core stack, and including they spread the bad concept to Python, to JavaScript, to basically all industrial programmers. So it's very common if you work as a programmer, you'll see, oh, that's because core stack. Even the error, sometimes error, they will say core stack. Idiot. Okay, to explain that one take a while, but that's the damage from the C++ from, in the beginning, from C people. Okay, and the gist of this problem, this bad concept of core stack, is that because of the C people, they don't really think in terms of mathematics and API. They don't think in terms of what user wants to do. The C coders and C++, and especially these two, okay, they think in the terms of what the machine is doing and the implementation compilers. That is why they got this core stack. Even if your data type is not a stack data type at all, but when you call a function, magically you got this core stack. Where does it come from? I'm just calling a function. What the fuck is the core stack? It has nothing to do with the function. I'm a mathematician. Function is not core stack. Where does it, well, that's because the C idiots. Okay, that's it for today. I think, that's it for today. We talked 50 minutes, so we back to punch cards. So I'm trying to show you. So back to, I'm showing you why I have a Golang version of grep. We were talking about rip grep. I have a Golang for multiple pairs of regular expression replacement in all files in a directory recursively, and we have a Python version in regular expression, Python version, and we have so here's a Python version, and here's a Perl version. That's my earliest written in 2000 in 1999. Okay, this is Perl version. It does has a lot of features. Find and replace multiple pairs of strings in one shot, including regular expression in all directories and subdirectories, and you can specify file size is beyond some file size, ignore it, things like that. So you got Perl version, of course, then you got Emacs version. So here is the Emacs tutorial how to do it without any user defined command. This is how to do it plainly in Emacs. Then of course you have a XAR Emacs version package, which I just demoed a moment ago. XAR find replace, XAR find el.el. So you can find replace all strings in a directory recursively by plain text or by regular expression or count how many occurrences, or do replacement, or just simply find, and so on. So you have to pay me to get it. So we were talking about all these find, replace, all these my personal versions. That's the first thing I do when I learn a language. And because we were talking about ripgrab, we were talking about whether you should use ripgrab. Is it worth it? Then why are we talking about ripgrab? Because we were talking about this new modern replacement for Unix tools, the Zoomer things, the Zoomer generation things. And we were talking about these things because we were looking at this page, because we were talking about how in Linux you got all this confusing, interconnected, fucked up design of command line options in the commands. Okay, each one do like miscellaneous. They are not small, they are not beautiful. Each one command doesn't do one thing well. It actually sometimes do other things. Like confusing, fucked up fuck. The Unix philosophy lie. Okay, so we were talking about that, and that's because we were talking about the designing of the today's talk show, about how should we modify the function about turning a list of lines to a HTML list. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Donate to me. Okay, go to xali.info. Buy me some Amazon gift card so I can buy something I need. You gotta use this link, because otherwise if you're using Germany Amazon or Japan Amazon, I cannot get the money. Okay, like people paid me before, but that's German Amazon. I can't get. So Amazon basically just ate the money. I can't take it. So that happened a few times. So donate me, appreciate it. xali.info, bottom, go to the bottom. That's it for today. Okay, hello Huang, congratulations, you are on my homepage. Okay, you guys, what arguments? Yeah, Unix is a major problem. Can you show the regular expression? How can I read? What is this one? Can you show the regular expression? I can read it well. What? Howdy from Tennessee. Hello, Tennessee. Now, what is the Tennessee accent? Tennessee is the southern accent, right? Hiya, all. Okay, bye, guys. Bye. Okay, bye. And let me do some cleanup. Programming block. Close that. XAR find go. Yeah, we were demoing that. So Linux command line. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Bye, guys.